Hello everyone, and welcome to Noodle Journey, your destination for detailed and informative reviews of the instant noodle universe. And since in the last review I had a reasonably positive experience with Mike's Mighty Good Kimchi flavor, I decided I wanted to see what an actual noodle company can do with kimchi. So here is Nongshim's Kimchi Flavor Noodle Soup. Before we get started, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these reviews. I've gushed before about how I discovered my love for kimchi late in life after hating it throughout my 20s. I've also gushed before about how much I love Nongshim products. So this should be a match made in heaven. Mike's Mighty Good Kimchi broth was pretty good, but of course you've got their issues with noodle quality and portions. And frankly, we're almost certainly not going to have issues with noodle quality and portions from Nongshim. Now before I start talking about the ingredients, you should know that Nongshim makes a variety of kimchi noodle products. You might see Nongshim's Kimchi Bowl Noodle at your local supermarket. It's pretty much the exact same broth recipe as this, but with less good 3-minute noodles instead of the 4-minute noodles in this pack. That generally indicates thinner noodles that are intended to be microwaved if that's something that bothers you. Nongshim also makes a product called Soon Kimchi, which is a vegan option that has their Soon broth with added kimchi flavor and flakes. This is also then different from Nongshim's Oolongmen Kimchi Cup, which may or may not still exist, but did at one point according to the internet. And there is a cup version of this to make things even more confusing. And this has also had a packaging change in recent years to make things even more confounding, and I believe has even different packaging in other export markets. So all this to say is that kimchi noodles are pretty popular and exist in many different forms everywhere. If you're just starting to learn about Asian food, let me quickly tell you about kimchi. It's a Korean food that can be used as a side dish or condiment or an ingredient, like in here, and it is made of pickled fermented vegetables with a mixture of stuff like chili peppers, ginger, garlic, fish sauce, and shrimp paste. And so it's a spicy pickled flavor with some nice umami, more or less. And now most of the time the fermented vegetable in question is cabbage. But you might see stuff like scallions or radishes or even cucumbers. In fact, if you have a decent Korean grocery store nearby, like H Mart for example, you can buy kimchi cucumbers and they're basically a super spicy pickle. Good stuff. But for purposes of instant noodles like these, we're going to be seeing cabbage flakes. You can also get vegan kimchi without the fish or shrimp ingredients, which is what Mike's was in the last episode. But I can tell you from personal experience that vegan kimchi without fish or shrimp tends to lack the depth of flavor of the non-vegan varieties. But either way, just read the ingredients before you buy it if you have dietary needs. And the last real quick before we get to the ingredients, you can buy this on YamiBuy for about $7 for a 4-pack, a little more on Amazon depending on which seller is gouging you on which day, and this should be an easy find at your local Asian grocery store as well for about the same price point. Some Walmarts even carry this for like $5 or $6 if you ever dare to set foot in Walmart. Be careful of the ingredients as listed on the back. The sodium is listed as 1,030 milligrams, but that is for one serving. There are 2 servings per container. So half a bag is 1,030, a whole bag is actually 2,070 milligrams, which is 90% of your daily allowance, which is a lot. So be careful with this broth if you have sodium issues. Alright, now here's the contents. It says seasoned with real kimchi on the front of this package, but don't get your hopes up. There's no retort pouch of wet fermented veggies in here the way some other companies do. Instead, we just have these really great Nongshim noodles and a soup packet and a flake packet. The flake packet contains their dried kimchi and possibly some other things. The label isn't exactly clear about it. And the soup powder contains anchovy extract and beef extract and fat. So fair warning if you avoid such things in your diet. This is not even pescatarian friendly because of that beef extract. If you do want a vegan alternative to this, buy Nongshim's Soon Kimchi, which I will be reviewing someday. Let's cook this up. Alright, so let me just stir this up a little bit so you can see the volume of noodles we've got, the various kimchi flakes floating around in here. Looks decent. The broth is a little thicker than I was envisioning, almost stew-like. Hey, Mike's Mighty Good Ramen, you might want to take some notes because this is what an actual portion of kimchi noodles should look like. The smell is very much in the ballpark of other things like Nongshim Shin. It's got that slightly beefy, oily aroma that I'm already very used to from Nongshim's other products. So, yeah, smells pretty good, very familiar. Let's give it a try. All right, pretty nice. Starting with the noodles, ever since episode 1, I've given Nongshim's basic ramen noodles an 8 out of 10 because they're pretty great, just shy of perfect. No exception here, these are the same plump, nicely chewy noodles that I've come to expect from Nongshim. They pair well with the robust flavor of this broth, so 8 out of 10 once again. Now, as far as spiciness is concerned, if you're a fan of kimchi, you probably know that different brands of kimchi differ in how spicy they are. And obviously you're not going to escape the spicy nature of kimchi in its soup form. And here it's pretty pronounced. I would say this veers into the vicinity of a somewhat comfortable medium spice rather than going for a full-blown spice explosion. So I think I am comfortable calling this, yeah, right in the middle, 5 out of 10 on the spice scale. Now the big question is, does this taste like kimchi and is it good? Kind of, and yes. It's a decent mix of all the flavors that you would expect from the stuff in a kimchi jar. So you've got salt, garlic, chili pepper, and fish flavor coming together to make something that is spicy, sour, and umami. It doesn't quite taste like the liquid that you get at the bottom of a kimchi jar, though. There's something a little bit off. It's not as fermented as that. There's a hint of mushroom flavor in here, some good general beefiness in the broth, which coupled with the mild seafood flavor actually really reminds me of Nongshim's neogori quite a bit, more so than Nongshim's shin or ansang flavors. But then you've got a really nice mild cabbage flavor in the kimchi flakes themselves, which hydrated pretty well, and although the color is kind of meh, they're pretty close flavor-wise to what you would get out of a jar, just smaller. Yeah, I like this. If you're a fan of shin or neogori ramen like I am, then this is a similar flavor profile, but with a slightly more sour kick. And I think that I might actually prefer this flavor depending on what day you catch me. I mean, I usually add kimchi to shin anyway, so this is in the ballpark of the flavor that I want it to be. The downside, the reason that I'm going to knock some points off, is that I really wanted more flakes in here. There's an okay amount of the cabbage flakes, and they did rehydrate, but they don't get that much bigger. And also there's nothing else in here, like there's no green onion, carrot, mushroom, what have you. I feel like if you're going to promise kimchi in soup, you got to deliver on the cabbage, and what's in here is just a little bit wanting. Maybe the soon kimchi will improve upon the vegetable to noodle ratio. We'll see when I get to that review. So all things considered, tasty broth, good noodles, comfortable spice, disappointing amount of kimchi flakes, and I think the kimchi flavor could just be a little bit punchier. So this is worth 7 out of 10 as an overall score. So yeah, if you're a fan of kimchi, you will probably like this, but you will also probably want to add some fresh kimchi of your own if you're really committed to it. If you've never tried kimchi before but are interested in its spicy fermented goodness, maybe shell out for a pack of this and see if you like it before you buy a whole jar, because the flavor of the fresh stuff is going to be stronger than what's in here. I can certainly see myself buying this again, but I will make sure to have some extra ingredients on hand to doctor it up when I do. How do you feel about kimchi? Are you a convert like me, or is it too spicy or sour or fermented for you? Let's chat about it in the comments. If you've tried this or any other kimchi soup, let me know what you think, or maybe you've got some recommendations for kimchi brands at your favorite grocery store. It's all good. I hope you're not all kimchi'd out, because I have one more kimchi variety I'm planning to review in the next video, and it's really, really different from the last two. So please watch that when it comes out. I do have a couple other kimchi varieties in the queue. Let me know if you want to see those sooner rather than later, and I'll work them up. Please remember to like this video and subscribe, and I hope to see you on the next episode of Noodle Journey.